We'll call the meeting to order and have a roll call.
Mr. Fiddler.
Here.
Mr. Overland. Mr. Love.
Here.
Mr. Burridge.
Here.
Mr. Huckabee.
Here.
Mr. Alexander.
Here.
Mr. Burgess.
Here.
Mr. Regan.
Here.
We'd first like to recognize all our guests, and Bobby Stem I know is in the crowd because he's already been up here trying to figure out how to get more roads. Where you at, Bobby? There he is back there. Let's welcome Bobby. Sherry Solis is also here with Operation Lifesaver. We'd like to recognize her and welcome her. And we're excited to have Secretary Debbie Snodgrass here with us today of Commerce and Tourism. We'd recognize the Secretary Ridley for the word there.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the Commission. It is my pleasure to have one of my counterparts that I sit around the table with Governor Fallon. And if you know Secretary Snodgrass very well, it's always good when we have a vote around the table at the cabinet meeting. I always vote behind her, so I know how to vote, and it's worked well for me. I've kept my job for quite some time now. But Secretary Snodgrass had asked to come to the commission meeting. She wanted to make a presentation to the commission and to the department. So if we would all welcome the Secretary of Commerce and Tourism, my good friend, Debbie Snodgrass.
Commission, Commissioner Love, and members of the audience. I wanted to come today to give you my thanks for your assistance. This agency has been a tremendous partner for me personally and for my agencies during my tenure in state government. But a few weeks ago, you probably read in the papers about how First National Center was going to have their utilities cut off. So the governor's office called me on Friday night at like 8 o'clock and said, we've worked all day on the situation with the utilities, but you're going to have to get tourism moved out by next Thursday. It's Friday night. There's over 100 people. So we worked all weekend, and come Monday morning, this team was there, and OMS was there with 10 people, and I told Commerce staff everybody on the second floor had to be moved to the first floor by the end of the day because tourism was moving in on Tuesday. So we got it done, and really without the difficulty you would expect, it went as smoothly as possible. But our number one problem was parking. We didn't have room for another 100 cars. So this agency stepped up to help us. And I've never, ever, even in the private sector, see something move so quickly. My staff would cheer. They'd watch out the window because there was a lot across the way that was vacant that could be leased. And your agency built a temporary parking lot for us on that property so we could get our land properly surveyed and our parking lot expanded at a later date. So the next week, I was in New York on a call trip, and people were literally making videos and texting them to me. Look at the parking lot. It's so amazing. I've never seen anything like this. So it takes a lot to impress state employees that have worked in government a long time. And trust me, they were all totally wowed So I just want to thank this commission, and I would like for Director Patterson and Casey Shell to step up here. And I would like to present this to you from Tourism and Commerce, and thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary and Mrs. Secretary. We'll move on to item 136. It's the approval of the minutes of the Special Transportation Commission meeting of September the 8th, 2015. Chair will hear a motion.
Motion.
We have a motion.
Second.
Have a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, call the roll.
Mr. Fidler.
Aye.
Mr. Love.
Aye.
Mr. Burridge.
Yes.
Mr. Huckabee.
Aye.
Mr. Alexander.
Yes.
Mr. Burgess.
Aye.
Mr. Regan.
Abstain.
Motion passes. Item 137 through 140 is the consent docket. There is an item that any commissioner would like pulled off to discuss separately. By acclamation, we'll do that. Otherwise, we'll hear a motion for the consent docket.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, call the roll.
Mr. Fidler.
Aye.
Mr. Love.
Aye.
Mr. Burridge.
Yes.
Mr. Huckabee.
Yes.
Mr. Alexander. Mr. Burgess.
Aye.
Mr. Regan.
Aye.
Motion passes. We'll move to item 141. Mr. Tiegler.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, Mr. Secretary. Item 141, programming item, is in Murray County. The Department requests approval to program a project to repair vehicle impact damage to US 77 northbound over I-35. The estimated cost of this project is $35,000 using state aid funds. This project can be ready for a February 2016 letting, and the party responsible for this damage is known. Approval is recommended.
You've heard the item.
Thanks.
Make a motion to approve.
We have a motion.
Second.
We have a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, call the roll.
Mr. Fidler.
Aye.
Mr. Love.
Aye.
Mr. Burridge.
Yes.
Mr. Huckabee.
Yes.
Mr. Alexander.
Yes.
Mr. Burgess.
Aye.
Mr. Regan.
Aye.
Motion passes. We'll hear item 142.
142 is our engineering contracts. I have one this month. It's in Payne County, Commission District 4. The department selected MacArthur Associated Consultants to provide preliminary engineering and prepare construction plans for State Highway 33 from State Highway 18 east, 1.45 miles to Harmony Drive in Cushing. Total not to exceed $647,420. The project is included in our 8-year construction work plan and is scheduled let date in 2018. Approval is also recommended.
Item 142 has been presented. What's your pleasure?
I'll make a motion, we approve.
We have a motion.
Second.
We have a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, call the roll.
Mr. Fidler.
Aye.
Mr. Love.
Aye.
Mr. Burridge.
Yes.
Mr. Huckabee.
Yes.
Mr. Alexander.
Yes.
Mr. Burgess.
Aye.
Mr. Regan.
Aye.
Motion passes. We'll hear item 143, the engineering contract supplements.
I have 7 of those this month. Part A is a statewide all districts for on-demand LiDAR mapping. We have previously selected CEC Corporation to provide mobile LiDAR mapping services. This supplement not to exceed is for $500,000. Part B is also a statewide all districts for our on-demand land surveying contract. We have previously selected Keystone Engineering and Land Surveying to provide land surveying for the department. The supplement not to exceed amount is for $250,000. Part C, Canadian County Commission District 4, Department previously authorized CEC Corporation to perform all engineering and prepare final design plans for I-40B bridge over Union Pacific Railroad in El Reno. This supplement not to exceed amount is $21,218.68. The project is included in the 8-year construction work plan with a scheduled let date in federal fiscal year 2018. Part D, Oklahoma County, Commission District 4, Department previously authorized Poe and Associates to perform all engineering services to prepare final design plans for I-35, I-240 interchange. Supplement not to exceed is for $982,000. The project is included in our 8-year construction work plan with a scheduled let date of federal fiscal year 2021. Part E, Custer County, Commission District 5. We've previously authorized MKEC Engineering to perform engineering and final design plans for State Highway 33 over the AT and SF Railroad. Supplement not to exceed amount is for $53,056. This is also included in our 8-year construction plan, scheduled let date in FY 2019. Part F, Greer County, Commission District 5. We previously authorized Smith Roberts Baldishwater to do the engineering services and prepare final plans for State Highway 6 from north side of Granite south approximately 5.4 miles. Supplement not to exceed is $52,755. And finally, Part G in Creek County, Commission District 8. We've authorized CEC in the past to perform all engineering services for final design plans for State Highway 48 over the Cimarron River. This not to exceed amount is for $210,200. This project is also included in our 8-year construction work plan, scheduled let date of 2017. Approval is recommended for these items.
You've heard the recommendation from the department. Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve.
We have a motion.
Second.
We have a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, call the roll.
Mr. Fiddler.
Aye.
Mr. Love.
Aye.
Mr. Burridge.
Yes.
Mr. Huckabee.
Yes.
Mr. Alexander.
Yes.
Mr. Burgess.
Aye.
Mr. Regan.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we need to do anything to help you guys, or y'all got it figured out back there? Well, we don't want to inconvenience them. Do y'all need some time, or can we move on? Okay, y'all don't need any time? We'll just sound funny. Item 144 is the lettings. Mr. Atkins.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Secretary, members of the Commission, item 144 consists of the tentative January and the tentative February 2016 bid openings, and the Department recommends approval of item 144.
You have the presentation.
Motion to approve item 144.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, call the roll.
Mr. Fiddler.
Aye.
Mr. Love.
Aye.
Mr. Burridge.
Yes.
Mr. Huckabee.
Yes.
Mr. Alexander.
Yes.
Mr. Burgess.
Aye.
Mr. Regan.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Atkins. The motion passes. We're ready for Mr. Raymond to present the change orders.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Secretary, members of the Commission. I would like to present item 145, parts A through Q. These represent the change orders on projects with a cumulative total of $50,000 or less. I feel like I'm in a cave. That's where I wish I would have been on Saturday, as a matter of fact. Stuck in a cave somewhere.
We weren't going to mention that.
Okay, and this item is presented for your information only. No action is necessary, but I'll be glad to try to answer any questions that you might have.
Does anybody have any questions of Mr. Raymond on the items that are 50,000 and less? If not, move on, please.
Thank you. I'd like to present item 146, parts A through M. These represent the change orders on projects with a cumulative total greater than $50,000, and your approval is recommended.
You've heard the presentation on the items that are greater than $50,000. What's your pleasure?
Motion to approve.
Have a motion?
Second.
We have a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, call the roll.
Mr. Fiddler.
Aye.
Mr. Love.
Aye.
Mr. Burridge.
Yes.
Mr. Huckabee.
Yes.
Mr. Alexander. Mr. Burgess.
Aye.
Mr. Regan.
Aye.
Thank you.
Motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Raymond. Mr. Green is going to present the item number 147.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Secretary, Commissioners. Item 147 is a request for additional appropriations on an emergency landslide stabilization project in the amount of $30,000. This project was in LaFleur County. It was an emergency landslide on State Highway 1, approximately 1 mile east of US 271. Additional appropriations were approved to fund the early completion incentive as provided for in the contract. The emergency contract is with Geostabilization International in the amount of $560,050. The contract provided for an incentive payment of $5,000 per day for each day prior to July 8th, 2015, that substantial completion of the work was achieved. GSI reached substantial completion 6 days early and earned an incentive of $30,000. This change order was approved by the Division II engineer under his authority, since the cumulative total of the change orders on the construction contract have not exceeded $50,000. This item is for your information only, and no action of the commission is necessary. As an emergency project, we wanted to make sure you're aware of it.
Thank you, Mr. Green. Does any commissioner have any further questions about the information item? Move to 148.
Okay. Agenda item 148 is a termination of a construction contract. This is a bridge painting at multiple locations in Division 4. This contract was awarded by the Oklahoma Transportation Commission in October 2013 to Compass Maintenance Company, LLC, for a contract amount of $518,765. The contractor failed to begin execution of the work, and ODOT placed them in default in March of 2015. The surety, Lexon Insurance Company, took bids to have the work completed, and the low bid was $935,000. An agreement was reached for the surety to pay ODOT the difference between their low bid and the Compass contract amount, which was $416,235, in exchange for Lexon being released from any obligation to complete the work. The payment from Lexon was received on September 18th, 2015. No work has occurred yet on this project. The project will be advertised in a future ODOT letting early next year. Commission approval of this item is recommended.
You've heard the item. What's your pleasure?
Motion to approve item 148.
Have a motion?
Second.
Have a second? Any discussion?
I had a question. Paul, you probably laid it out pretty clearly, but you kind of lost me. What happened?
The contractor actually defaulted on his work, wouldn't show up to the project. We had problems with him on a previous project in Division 5. So it went back to the bonding company. The bonding company took bids, which was nearly double what our bids were originally. And we agreed, by agreement, we allowed them to pay us the difference between the low bid and what their bid was, which was $416,235. We've had our next three bidders after this contractor bid around $600,000. We feel like this is a win-win situation. The bonding company running projects is generally not a well-run project, if you will. They're more difficult to manage in some degree.
Okay.
So we haven't awarded this bid then?
We did award this bid. They've defaulted on this bid.
Well, I understand the first
Not the
part.
new one, no.
Oh, the new one was
Yeah.
just from the insurance company. So By agreement, we've allowed them out of this contract rather than let them have just one contractor.
Commissioner Burgess, what they did is they let a bid, the guy didn't go to work, bonding company was gonna finish it, and they went out and got their own bids that we had nothing to do with.
That's correct.
And those bids, they paid us the difference, and so we got a check.
That's correct.
And we're gonna bid it out again, and we hope to come out and make a couple $100,000.
That's
Well-
a capitalist talking there.
We hope to let it out through our bidding
No,
process and
we
allow our
will.
contractors an opportunity to
We'll
bid.
give the contractors an opportunity, but we've protected ourselves.
That's correct.
That's what we've done. But no contract, no letting has been made yet.
That's correct.
And we're approving the,
It's the settlement.
The settlement,
The termination
okay.
of the construction
Yes.
contract.
so we have a motion and a second. Any further comments or questions? Hearing none, call the roll.
Mr. Fiddler.
Aye.
Mr. Love.
Aye.
Mr. Burridge.
Yes.
Mr. Huckabee.
Yes.
Mr. Alexander. Mr. Burgess. Mr. Regan.
Aye.
Thank you.
Motion passes. We'll move to the awards.
Morning, Commissioners, Chairman, Mr. Secretary. Item 149 are our recommendations for the September bid opening. It is recommended that the following items from the letting referred to by call order be awarded. It's call orders 10, 50, 65, 70, 80, 100, 110, 120, 140, 160, 170, 205, 210, 220, 240, 250, 262, 270, 280, 290, 300, 340, and 350. It is recommended that the following items from the letting referred to by call order be rejected. It's call order 60 and 130. This includes the recommendations for award, and your approval is requested.
We've heard the presentation. What's your pleasure on item number 149, the awards?
Motion approved.
Have a motion?
Second.
We have a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, call the roll.
Mr. Fiddler.
Aye.
Mr. Love.
Aye.
Mr. Burridge.
Yes.
Mr. Huckabee.
Yes.
Mr. Alexander.
Yes.
Mr. Burgess.
Aye.
Mr. Regan.
Aye. Thank you.
Item 149 passes. We'll move to item 150, which is the budget revision.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Secretary, and members of the Commission. Agenda item 150 is a budget revision to the 2016 budget, and it includes an increase to the asset preservation program in the amount of $20 million to be funded with unbudgeted revenue. And the department requests and recommends approval of this item.
Thank you for your presentation. Do we have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
We have a second. Any discussion?
I had a question. Shelley, 20 million worth of unbudgeted, where does that money actually come from?
Every year when we prepare the budget, we have an analysis that we do to look at available cash, projected cash, and we look at the obligations, and we either budget funding when we need it, and if we don't, we preserve the right when we do need it, and this is one of the instances where we do.
So you've got a set-aside fund that you can pull from.
It's unbudgeted, quite literally, but
Okay.
Any more questions? Call the roll.
Mr. Fiddler.
Aye.
Mr. Love.
Aye.
Mr. Burridge.
Yes.
Mr. Huckabee.
Yes.
Mr. Alexander.
Yes.
Mr. Burgess.
Aye.
Mr. Regan.
Aye. Motion passes. The chair will pass item 159, and we'll move to item 152.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, Mr. Secretary. So on September 17th, ODOT lost a plan. Dan Case, who was the head of the Oklahoma Trucking Association, passed away after a year-long battle with pancreatic cancer and all the implications it killed had. Up until the very end, Dan was working. Some days he struggled to work, but even 2 days before his untimely death, he was on a conference call advocating with the legislature through an interim study. Dan was a friend of ODOT's who was always working for better transportation, obviously for the trucking industry, but for all of Oklahoma and all of the country. He was one of the largest proponents of a port of entry system that we're now establishing, because he believed that safe trucking led to safe highway travel and safety for all. So ODOT has lost a friend, as I said earlier. He was not one that we always agreed with. Dan and I spent many hours at the Capitol discussing, if you will, debating certain issues, but he was always there for us. And I just wanted to note his passing. Earlier in the commission, in the consent docket, you approved 10 rail crossing safety projects. It is the beginning of the effort that Governor Fallon announced last fall, that we would touch more than 300 crossings throughout this state. It's an effort that takes in the help of local entities, county and city, the railroad certainly because they get to do all the work, and ODOT because we get to provide the money. And certainly Operation Lifesaver is a huge advocate of this effort. I mentioned this at a recent ASHTO meeting as one of the highlights that we're doing here in Oklahoma, and they were astounded, my colleagues were astounded, that we would actually be in an opportunity to create this kind of safety on our crossings. Nearly 90% of these crossings don't involve the highway system. They involve city streets and county roads. It is something that we have long wanted to do with the increase in rail traffic in the United States. We can do what we can here in Oklahoma. And certainly we've seen increased rail traffic, but even with the increased rail traffic, there's the dangers that come with transporting crude, and we've seen some incidences around the country involving that. So we're just trying to do a little part to make highway safety, street, county road safety a little bit better. I know Secretary Ridley wanted to make a comment on this because it was a huge issue for the governor in her announcement last month, if I'm not mistaken.
Mr. Chairman, if I may.
Sure.
Director Patterson and his staff have something very much in common with Governor Fallon, and that's the protection and the safety of the people that use our facilities. I know that this is paramount with the commission, certainly as evidenced by your willingness to approve the funds to be used in this way. Director Patterson was able to put if you'll recall, sell a section of rail line that has been used, the proceeds of that to be used to fund this great endeavor to improve the safety at our rail crossings. And it not only is on, what's unique about this is that the private sector is a cooperative partner in improving these rail crossings and the safety, along with, as Director Patterson made mention, county governments and city governments. So it's a unique opportunity where all of the parties involved are wanting toward a common goal, but without, again, Director Patterson and his staff and this commission approval today would have not gotten started, and the governor very much appreciates the follow-up to make sure that it happens, because a lot of times we'll make announcement about things and sometimes they die on the vine. This agency and this department always follows through with their commitments, and this is an example of that. And I know that if she was here, she would say thank you.
Chairman, I do want to make a comment about item 150. You approved an increase in the budget for asset preservation. Last commission meeting, you received as an informational item our asset preservation plan for the upcoming year. After that approval, we began to think about, was that really enough? Given what has happened to our service on the highways in the last 12 months. Certainly, and I've commented about this before, the energy sector, the impact that they've made with a robust energy industry going on in parts of the state, a lot of truck traffic making a significant difference in our service. But we were already behind before that started. And then you go through the winter and the spring that we did with the freeze-thaw cycles that our pavement experienced and the huge rains that followed. So we've lost a lot of pavement. So after you reviewed the asset preservation plan last month, decided that we would seek an increase of $20 million in that plan. So that's what Shelley brought to you earlier. It's going to be allocated out, just like the rest of the asset preservation plan is allocated out to each commission district. But more importantly, the money, and Shelley rightfully said it's unbudgeted revenues, it's unaccounted, unspoken for, not unaccounted for, but unspoken for. But it's a situation that really dates back to 2008. In 2008, we began to see a trend with the federal government, and we've all talked about this, where we've had extensions and continuing resolutions, and a threat that they would not be able to pay a reimbursement once we sent it to them on a weekly basis, that they would run into this situation. So we began to build up a cash balance. So we adjusted our cash management practices. We're making that adjustment the other direction right now. We're adjusting to hold less cash because we really believe that the threat of bad payment outweighs by a bit the threat of not getting reimbursement from the federal government. So we've adjusted our priority just a little bit. I would like to have totally taken the threat of not receiving reimbursement from the federal government completely off the table, and we could have added more money to the project. But at this time, we can do $20 million because we can adjust our cash management practices by a little bit because of that problem. I need to remind you of the commission meeting change. Next month, and we mentioned this before, but next month, our commission meeting is not going to be on the 2nd, but it's going to be on the 9th. So we're going to delay it 1 week. We'll be right here, same time, same place, on the 9th instead of the 2nd. And then finally, today is a big day at ODOT because we're going to play a soccer game tonight. And I'm a softball guy. You know me. I'm a softball guy. But the last 2 months, I've gotten into the soccer thing. I go out there and I stand there and I cheer. When everybody else claps, I clap. So I know that it's something good. But tonight, after 2.5 months of battling on a weekly basis, other state agencies, coming out through the regular season undefeated, winning the semifinals, we're in the final game against the Department of Health tonight at 6 o'clock. You guys are invited. I know you're too busy. Most of you are out of town. Everybody behind me is going to be there. And everybody that's out there in the foyer and everybody that's sitting at their desk watching this is going to be there. We usually have 30 or 40 people there. And I tell you, you sit on our sidelines, 30, 40 people, other sidelines, nobody. I'd love to have 100 people there tonight to show these guys our support and show the other team that we're ODOT strong. Thank you.
Thank you, Director. Oh, I'm sure they'd like to see me running around there, a little short, fat, bald-headed guy. Yeah. I would mention that when I began my stint on the commission in 1990, I was surprised to find that railroads were more important than I thought. And I've watched as interest as the secretary when he was the director and Director Patterson, how they've handled that. And it's a great accomplishment to get those lines sold, put back in the private sector. It was a big decision to acquire those lines. But now to take this third step, as the governor and the department's done, and be able to put that money back in there is a great accomplishment by you guys and your staff and all you guys out there. That's where it needed to be. You've done a great job at it, and it could have turned out differently over the years, but it didn't. And so that 1, 2, 3 to me is a great success, and you are to be commended profusely from the chair. Are there any other comments? If not, we'll hear a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
Have a motion and a second. Everybody tap the desk if they're ready to leave. She's not going to cooperate with us. You can call the roll anytime.
Mr. Fiddler.
Aye.
Mr. Love.
Aye.
Mr. Burris.
Yes.
Mr. Huckabee.
Yes.
Mr. Alexander.
Yes.
Mr. Burgess. Mr. Regan.
Aye.